Good morning, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It's Monday morning. I am currently air frying some chicken tenders for breakfast because I cannot be bothered to actually stand at a stove and cook. I just don't feel like it. So chicken tendies it is. It's Monday, as I mentioned. I think I mentioned. We have one therapy scheduled today. I'm going to, I need to record an intro today. Don't want to do that, but I have to. I have to because one of the videos that I want to put out this week is pretty much done, except it doesn't have an intro. And this week's going to be a little complicated by doctor's appointments and stuff. So I want to try to not put off till tomorrow what I could do today. That's the vibe of the week, because I already have a ton of stuff that's out of the ordinary planned. And you guys know life has a way of throwing us curveballs, and then I just want to make sure that everything gets done. So I need to do that today, as much as I really don't want to. And I want to finish editing that video. I have a whole list. I have a ton of things that have to get done today. Everything's quite manageable. I should have plenty of time to do all the things that I want to do. Off the top of my head, I can't think what any of those things are. I know that I was meant to edit the last episode today, but I did it last night. So I'll go ahead and I'll post that up here. Also, a couple updates. We finished Miss Marvel on Saturday, I think. I forgot to mention it at the end of the last episode. We really, really liked it. It was really good. We were slow stepping so much on starting it because we thought we were gonna really not like it, and we ended up very much enjoying it. Totally different vibe from pretty much anything else in the Marvel universe thus far, but it's really good. And now the next thing on the list is Thor: Love and Thunder, which is a movie, not a series. So we have to have a 2 to 3 hour chunk of time that we can just sit and watch. And that's a little complicated, but I'm looking forward to it because the movie looks kind of ridiculous. So that's next. And speaking of watching stuff, last night was my Super Bowl, which is the beginning, the premiere of season 18 of Sister Wives. All of these people are such trash. All of them. For various reasons. But I've been watching the show from the very, very beginning, since its inception. I remember I was pregnant with my son when the show first premiered. And I probably know more about these people than I know about my own family members. It's a problem, really, at this point. And I can't stop myself from watching because I'm so invested. Last night's episode was, not that it was kind of crap, but they really didn't give us a whole lot because most of it was pretty much a recap of what happened last season. And trust me, if 18 seasons in we're still watching, we know exactly what happened last season. You did not need to give us a recap, so that was a little bit of a waste of time. But I guess they felt like it had to happen that way, so hopefully next week will be more exciting. But yeah, this is the season where everybody finally up and leaves the narcissist that is Cody Brown, so very excited about that. I hope in some way Robin gets some sort of comeuppance, but honestly I really don't see that happening because she's evil. She's absolute evil personified, but she's also very calculating, so I'm sure she's 3 steps ahead of anything that could possibly bite her in the ass. Anyways, I might be giving her too much credit, but that's what's going on today. This is me uncaffeinated, by the way, guys. I stopped drinking caffeine again days ago, and luckily I haven't had the headaches or crash or anything that I was anticipating. I guess my body's just used to being decaffeinated at this point, luckily. But yeah, that's all that's going on for right now. Like I said, I have a ton of things to do today. Maybe I'll record some of them. But in the meantime, happy Monday. Just wanted to pop in real fast because I have a little bit of an update for you guys. I messaged the wheelchair company, the medical supply, and I told them there was a potential COVID exposure at the therapy center, so is there any way that we could just get the thing delivered to our house? And they said, yeah, no problem, that's totally fine. So apparently the PT does not have to be involved at all. I thought that they had to be, and that's why we had to go to the therapy center. But no, they're gonna go ahead and bring it here, which works out because my husband already has to be out of work for a time this week because of our appointment with the doctor tomorrow. So now it's just going to be the one time instead of him also having to bring me the car on Friday and being out of work for however long it takes for me to handle that. So overall, much more convenient. huge load off my back because now I don't have to be concerned about, you know, potential COVID exposure at the therapy center. I just have to remember to, I guess, let the therapy center know, text the therapist or something, because we should be seeing her tomorrow, but we're not going to see her tomorrow because we have that doctor's appointment. So the first time we would have been seeing her all week is in person to pick up the wheelchair. So yeah, I'll just have to, at some point this week, remember to shoot her a text and say, hey, by the way, this is what's happening instead now. So we'll just meet at our regular time, teletherapy style. But yeah, I'm very, very happy that we were able to make that happen, because for many reasons, it's way easier for everybody, way better for everybody this way. Good morning, friends. It is Tuesday, and there's a ton that I want to talk to you guys about, to the point that I even made myself a little list so I wouldn't forget any of the key points. Oh, my hair's crazy. I need to trim my bangs, probably not today, but soon, eventually, because I feel like as long as my hair is cut appropriately and at least somewhat brushed, I look fine. But lately I don't feel like I look all that great, and it's because I've let my hair just kind of grow out of any shape I'd previously given it. Anyways, that's not what I was going to talk to you guys about. First of all, we saw Thor: Love and Thunder yesterday, and I don't know if it's because I'd heard from so many different people that it was crap, that it was a very jump the shark, absurd kind of movie. I was expecting it to be terrible, but also I went into it knowing it was going to be really, really campy and like kind of ridiculous. We really liked it. It was funny. It was definitely absurd, but they knew that. Like, it's one thing if you are trying to be serious, but it comes off ridiculous, then you look kind of like a fool. But if you're going for ridiculous and it is ridiculous, and it's like, I see what you did there, and that's kind of the flavor that we got from it. I cried at some point. So yeah, overall, very entertaining movie. And now the next thing on our list is She-Hulk, which we don't know much about, but we did watch the trailer last night, and it's very much giving Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, except a Marvel version. And if you were a stoner about 20 years ago, you know exactly what Harvey Birdman is. If you don't, I can't guarantee that you'll get it, but Google it. Very entertaining stuff. So we're looking forward to watching that. I've got my Gigapet here. Poor little Uterock. He is now 34 years old, so actually 34 days old. I showed him to you guys like a week ago, I think. But the reason I'm showing him to you now is because I keep getting notifications that the battery's dying. And so, by the way, my son's disco light is on. I don't know if you guys can see the light like bouncing off my hands there. But I have a new battery for it. It's one of those giant like button batteries. I'm gonna change the battery later on today. But because I've never actually changed, or at least in the last couple of decades, I haven't changed the battery on one of these, I don't know if changing the battery is going to wipe the memory. So potentially, this might be Uterock's last day, which is really sad because he's been doing really well and he's lasted a very long time. Hopefully I'm able to change the battery and he remains, but I genuinely don't know. So there's that. We unexpectedly got the day off today from therapy. I had canceled the afternoon therapy because my fertility doctor appointment is later on today, but we expected to still see our morning therapist, and she called out sick, but nobody thought to tell us. The front office is always telling the therapists, stop being so familiar with the parents. Stop texting them. That's up to the front office. The front office handles scheduling. If anything's going on, if you need to change something, if you need to cancel something, if they need to cancel something, they shouldn't be texting you. They should be calling us. If you need to cancel, you shouldn't be texting them. We'll let them know. We'll call them. So the therapists are constantly getting, in trouble for that sort of thing. But then today, we sat down at the table, we turned on the computer, I put my kid's timer on, etc., etc., and I realized I don't have a meeting link for today's therapy. So I text the therapist. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm actually out sick. She has a chronic condition, and so every once in a while she wakes up not feeling well, and that's why I'm not worried that it's like COVID or anything, because I know that it's very likely not. She's just, unfortunately, it's something that has to do with her condition. So I'm very understanding about that. I'm very understanding even if it's not something like that, but like the point is that that's fine. If you need time, take time. The last thing I want is for you to push through when you're not feeling well, because that doesn't help you. But she was like, they didn't call you from the office? I'm like, no, obviously not. They never do. They give you guys crap over it, but they never actually call us. They expect that you're going to tell me. And sure enough, 20 minutes into the appointment, I get a call from the front office. Hey, did the therapist let you know that she was out? Yeah, she did. I had to harass her at home sick to ask her, hey, what's going on? Because we were both under the impression that if something were to happen, that you would call me. And thanks for calling me 20 minutes in. I think at this point I'd have figured it out myself, whether she texted me or not. But yeah, that all happened. So kiddo's pleased because he has the whole day off, and Abuela's coming over in a little while to hang out with him while Daddy and I go to that appointment, which I'm very nervous about. I had a really terrible time sleeping last night because I was so nervous for today. I don't know what the appointment is actually going to look like. I don't see any reason for them to like examine me. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be a situation where we like sit down in the doctor's office just to go over the labs and stuff. But I'm pretty sure, based on what I know of my own testing at home and what I was able to interpret from the labs, that they're pretty much going to tell us, you're too old for this and you're not going to be able to conceive without help. And we can't afford really help. Like, we can afford things like, if I need to get on some sort of a hormone treatment, we can make that happen. But if they straight up say you are without like recourse except for straight up IVF, then we're out. And we're gonna have to just accept that like we're one and done basically, because we can't afford IVF. And maybe it's the pessimist in me, or I think it's just a matter of reality. I'm expecting that that's pretty much what they're going to tell us. That like, based on these test results, the possibility of you guys just naturally, spontaneously having a healthy pregnancy is slim to none. That's what I'm expecting to hear. So, we'll see. We'll see what they say. But, all will be revealed, I guess. Anyway, that's what's going on. Sorry to be such a bummer, but I mean, it is what it is, and I have to steel myself for whatever it is I'm going to hear later. So, yeah. With that, happy Tuesday. Hey friends, it's Wednesday morning. I honestly don't even know where to start. First off, I look like crap because kiddo woke up at 4 a.m. and I didn't get to bed until after 1. That's further compounded by the fact that all day yesterday I was just so physically and emotionally exhausted that every part of me hurt, because I just wanted to sleep for the next week if possible, and obviously that didn't get to happen. But guess gotta address the elephant in the room. How did the appointment go? So on the way there, I was basically like, whatever the opposite of pumping up my husband is, letting him know that they were probably going to tell us, you know, based on my own testing at home, etc., that, you know, I'm too old for this and my eggs are crap, and, you know, we have to be prepared for that, that they might just tell us that, like, the window's closed, basically. And I told him, like, I'm just trying to tell myself, like, the worst possible things that I could hear, so that whatever else they have to tell me, at least I'm prepared for it. I don't think anything could have prepared me for what they actually said. So basically, they got right down to business, and they let me know that everything looks good, except, and this is a very, very huge except, so everything else looking fine, like, really doesn't matter. They found in my blood work that I have something called balanced balanced reciprocal translocation of chromosomes 6 and 12. So I have an actual genetic deformity. My chromosomes, nothing's missing, which is why I don't have any like obvious syndrome, and why I'm alive, because I have all of my DNA there. It's not where it's supposed to be. Chromosome 6 and chromosome 12 have switched places. And that's something that happened while I was being put together in the womb. It has nothing to do with any sort of like lifestyle choice I made, or I'm gonna try to really get through this without losing my too much, but I've basically been crying for the last 24 hours, so I thought I was all cried out. Apparently not. If you look up that condition, literally the only thing affected is miscarriages. You're going to have miscarriages. It's very unlikely you're gonna not have a miscarriage. It only affects, this abnormality only affects your reproductive system. And so, genetically speaking, from birth, I probably shouldn't have been able to have children because my eggs are just not healthy. They never were. Nothing I could have done or would have done differently would have changed that. I was just not supposed to have kids. So immediately I'm thinking, okay, so I am the cause of my son's autism. And all the hardship that he has to go through in life is because I am built the way I'm built. I know it's not my fault because, again, it's nothing that I could have done about it, but it's just a matter of fact. And it's just really, really unlikely that any pregnancy I have is going to be a healthy one, or that it's going to result in a healthy child. They did say that IVF is a possibility, but they want me to see genetics first because apparently even with everything, the human body is complicated. So there are levels to this, right? The way he explained it is, imagine chapters in a book. If you pick up all of chapter 6 and all of chapter 12 and reverse them, then you pretty much have 0 chance. But if there's only a few pages from chapter 6 and just a few pages from chapter 12 that you mixed up, you might still be able to tell what's going on in the book. So, depending on how transposed my chromosomes are, there's a 50% chance, 20% chance, 10% chance that there might be a healthy egg if we were to try to do IVF. So it's important to know that, because the doctor doesn't want us to spend thousands of dollars on IVF only to find that every single one of my eggs is not functional. And then we wasted all that money because the money is spent whether they're able to do an implantation or not. So he pretty much told me, you can keep going at this on your own, but you have to be prepared for the fact that if you get pregnant again, you're more than likely going to lose it. And anytime you get pregnant from here on out, it's very likely you're going to lose it. So just for funsies, because we really can't afford it, period, I asked him, how much is IVF? How much would that be? And he says, oh, well, it's about $12,000 every time you try. But every time you try, ideally we'll get multiple eggs. And then you only have to pay for the implantation, assuming the first time doesn't take, and so on. And we're thinking $12,000 is a lot of money, but maybe we could get a loan or something. So then we finish the consult, we sit down with the financial person, whoever she is, and she starts giving us a breakdown. And it turns out it's $12,000 for this part, but then it's $6,000 for the medicine, and then it's $3,600 for this other thing, and then you have to have an ultrasound, that's another $1,800, and before you know it, it ends up being like 30 grand just to try, just to start. And that we definitely can't do. All I've ever wanted was to be a mom and to have 4 kids. And every choice I've made, from what I eat to what, just everything in my life, my every waking moment's thoughts are, for years, have been about making my body ready to have another baby. And it turns out that it's all for nothing, because there's nothing I can do to make this situation work. I feel like so much of who I am has been wrapped up in trying to be a mom again, that I don't know who I am without this. But it also feels so stupid to try to keep trying when we know that the chances of this actually resulting in anything other than heartbreak are so low. And my husband's like, well then let's just talk to the geneticist and let's just see what they have to say, because maybe it's not as bad as we think. But even if it isn't, we don't have $30,000 to even try to do IVF. And then what if we somehow find a way and it still doesn't work, or we need to do it again, or so yeah. Not to be dramatic or anything, but I really feel like I just might never be happy again. I feel like something is fundamentally wrong with me. I feel like I ruined my husband's life, basically, because if he had married anybody else, he would have been able to have a big, beautiful family. I told him that yesterday, and he got really upset. He said, I didn't marry you to have babies. I married you because I wanted to be with you. And obviously that's amazing to hear, but it doesn't change the facts that he could have had a completely different life if he wasn't with me. I just wish I'd known. I wish I'd known. I mean, our lives would be completely different, and I'm not saying that that would be a good thing, because I might never have had my son. And I don't even want to go down that road. But if I had known that I had this condition 20 years ago, I could have made other plans. We could have done IVF the moment we got married, and at least taken my eggs back when I was 20 years younger, 15 years younger. The older you get, the less eggs you have and the less healthy they are. I could have done the egg extraction part literally decades ago, so that when we were ready to have kids, we would have already had that part done. We would have known this is going to be hard. We would have known this is what we need to do in order for you to have healthy kids. We could have had multiple children. Our lives just would have been, literally nothing about our lives currently would look the same if only I'd known from the beginning that I had this issue. But now it's too late. Now it's too late for anything. I can't change any of it. I couldn't change any of it at all, period, from the beginning. And there's nothing about this I could have changed. It's a genetic thing. But I could have planned for it differently. We could have had a completely different life. And again, it's not even worth going down that road, because there's good things and bad things about that, and either way, no matter what I think about it, it doesn't change what is. But this is a lot. This is a lot. And I don't know how to process all of this. I don't know how to... I don't know. My son will never have a sibling. My son is going to be alone in this world because of... See, and that's... I keep saying... I keep thinking to myself, this is happening because of me, or how am I supposed to forgive myself? I need to have somebody to blame. I need to have some place to direct all of this sadness and frustration and anger, even if it's at myself. I need that. I can't just say it is what it is, because it's too much. It's too much for me to just throw my hands up and say, oh well. But I really can't blame myself, because I've done everything to make myself healthy and ready for this. I've done everything. And at the end of the day, none of it mattered. I never had a chance. I never had a chance. I was bored already. Just, I'm lucky to have my son, is all I can say. But I'm also very, very aware of the fact that his life is so much harder than it needs to be. And now I can't even give him a support system. So honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and just stop the vlog right here, guys. I can't imagine what else I could possibly have to say after this. Like, I wasn't even gonna do this vlog today because what's the point? What's the point of any of it? So, sorry to end on a downer, but I'm not gonna pretend that everything's okay when it's absolutely not. I don't know if I'll continue vlogging, like if I'll pick up the camera again tomorrow. I was supposed to record stuff for the channel today, but I'm not feeling up to it, and I think that most of you will probably understand. I don't know. But yeah, thanks for watching. I don't necessarily want advice, or I'm just venting. Because at the end of the day, no advice, no, oh, I know somebody and this happened, or none of that changes anything. And I'm not at a place where I'm ready to hear any of it. So that's what's going on. Thank you for listening. And I guess we'll chat again soon.